I'm sorry, y'all. Let me make sure. Hello, hello. Thank you for joining. Let me get this slid over. Yeah.
We're good. Both cameras got us. Let's
Okay.
go dive in so then we can dive out.
So, Boru Boye Aboshishe. This has been a topic. I mean, we knew last week that we wanted to speak about children and how
It's
we
one of our topics in our
and how we rear children in order to be their best possibility, all the things. And we're still going to pretty much stay on focus with children, but in a different dynamic. In a different dynamic. Oh, my heart's racing. Okay, so this is also a topic that I've been wanting to discuss on the show in regards to the importance of Ifa. And Sis and I really wanted to be sure that, say viewers that are not initiated to try to, what's it called? Like
bring it to this side or something, or
can't even think right now. To change your beliefs. We're just trying to share our belief system with the community. As hi, Boruboye. Bring awareness to the community about what it is that we believe, so that it's not. I gotta stop at this table. I'm sorry if it's rocky. Let me just stay off the table. To bring awareness to our tradition and how it supported our lives, how it supported the community, and this has been one of the topics that I've wanted, that's dear to my heart, because it absolutely involves personal lives, personal families, and the community. When I say community, I mean worldwide. So as I said, I'm not partaking in the vino that we love to have, only because I'm super emotional right now and I want to be able to be sure to stay focused. I saw a gut-wrenching video this morning. I went to get my nails done, and a dear friend of mine, old friend, God, I've known since 2001, she went live and basically told all of her Facebook friends that she had lost her oldest child. I know this young man. I flew down here to Florida when I didn't live here to be at his first birthday party. The whole thing. So there's that. And then there's, my brother James. You met him when he came for the drumming. My nephew was taken away at an early age as well. And when I say taken away, I'm going to get into what I mean by that. So it's funny because before I went live, I had all these thoughts and everything was uniform and in sync, and now I just feel flustered. I want to talk about the Odu of Ogbe Yonu. And one of the things as we were getting ready to come on the show is I realized that we've got to start doing some videos on just
different Odus and
different what?
Odus.
So, no, maybe so down the line. Thank you. I do need to take a breath.
Yeah, let's do some breathing all together.
Okay.
You got the information, just let it flow naturally out of you.
One of the things that we need to start doing is kind of like a glossary of things that we'll be talking about, so that as I'm like, whether it's the Orisha and their characteristics, or what Orisha are even, or you know what I mean, like a glossary of terminology that we will likely say, so that when we're reading these Odus and they might be like, well, wait, because a lot of times we're talking as if everyone watching is initiated or to something, right? And so forgive us, it's not here right now, but we are clear that it needs to happen. We will get you guys basically a video glossary of different things that we will be mentioning, so that whenever you watch one of our videos, you can go back and say, oh, well, let me go to the glossary to see what in the world they were talking about, because I don't want to stop to explain too much during this topic. So the reason I as I told you, I saw the horrible video this morning regarding the loss of a dear friend's eldest child. And also my nephew, who was lost not too long ago. I also have a cousin. That was a few years back. Like, the untimely death thing, I have a sister that my mother lost when she was only 2 weeks old. I have personal experience also, aside from that, just in my own being, like, my eldest son was on the brink of death, okay, I'll get into that. He's here, he's good, he's initiated to Ifa, Orisha, he's doing well, Ashe. And then there's Maze. So I'm gonna get into my personal experiences with Iku, where my kids are concerned and where I'm concerned. And maybe you have something to share that I don't even know about, because what I'm about to tell you, you don't know.
Yeah, I'm just like alive, just like you guys, waiting for the information.
So I want to share these Eseifas in Ogbe Yonu because it talks about how to avoid untimely death. Obviously, we know that we're born and we die. Those are two things that we're sure of. It's gonna happen. It's inevitable. You make your peace with it, right? But a lot of times, a lot of us grew up believing, especially in the diaspora outside of Africa, we grew up believing that in this situation, for instance, God wanted it to happen. No. Or we do all these prayers, and when someone's sick and they're either, there was a horrible random accident of some sort, the person may be 2, the person may be 30, but we are supposed to live to an old age. Like, point blank period. There is not supposed to be nobody going before old age. The other natural cycle of life is for the parent to pass away and transition before the child. That is the natural cycle and order of life. Whenever you see anything outside of that, there's an issue. And we have to stop saying, well, that's what God wanted. Like, we can't do it anymore. So for me, Ifa, I really resonate with Ifa because in my priesthood, I found, I always knew that we needed to stop saying these things. Well, the angels wanted them, or the, whatever. Like, there's some answers here that we get to look at and use our tools in order to stop, for the whole world to stop this from happening. I also like to say, and you'll see in the verses that I'm about to read, that even when we do a bow for ourselves, it greatly impacts an abundance of people. I can't say the whole world. I can't say that because I don't know it. But what I do know,
it does have an effect on.
Exactly. It's going to hit just what you do for yourself and taking care of yourself impacts a large amount of people in a very positive way, just for us taking care of ourselves. So let me get into one of and forgive me, y'all, if I'm all over the place, bear with me. I'm doing my best to keep it together, but I am really frazzled right now. Okay. In this verse of Ogbe Yonu, first of all, let me cite where I'm reading from. I am looking in Ifa Dida, an invitation to Ifa consultation, volume 2. This is from Solagbade Popola, and this is in Ogbe Oyaku through Ogbe Ofun. So again, it's volume 2. As far as I know, there's only 2 volumes that have been published. The first one is the Mejis, and then this one is the, what I just said, sorry. I got this, right? Yes, Ashe. Okay. So, in Ogbe Yonu, which is Ogbe Ogunda, okay, we get to visit where it's talking about untimely death. And so, if you're patient with me, I read pretty fast, but I'm also trying not to run through this because I want it to land. So, on page, if you have this book, the page number's not on here. It's in Ogbe Yonu, and it's number 9 is the first essay that I'm going to read from. I'm not going to read the Yoruba, I'm just going to read the English. First words in Yoruba go. Owere, the Kasi Fa for Umila, who would adorn the next, this is not the one I read first, I'm sorry. I want to go to number 7 first. We're starting with number 7. Okay. Ifa explains in this Odu, especially in this particular stanza, that the reason why people die and why death does not follow any seniority pattern. Iku, which is death, may leave the grandparents, the parents, and then snatch away all the children while in their youth. The elder siblings may live up to 100 years, while their younger brother or sister might have died while he or she was just 13 years of age. The husband may die at the age of 36, while the wife may live past 90 years on earth, and so on. It goes back into the verse, which says, a youth is having a secret love affair with the wife of an Ogboni elder. They've heard of it, but they must not say anything. Even the consequence of doing so must not be pronounced. This was Ifa's message for Iku, death, and also for Osunla, or Batala. When coming from heaven to earth, they were advised to offer a bow. So forgive me, I didn't quite explain. The first passage that I read to you was Baba Popola's synopsis on what this verse is about. And then I went back into reading the actual verse in English. Okay, now back to the story. Iku, death, and Obatala, who is in Arumale, were mandate by Olodumare to go to the planet Earth and continue the work of ensuring that the planet was made suitable for human habitation. When they were about to proceed, Olodumare gave them, and Olodumare is who we refer to as God. Olodumare gave them 8 fresh eggs, 4 for Iku, and the remaining 4 for Obatala. As soon as they arrived on Earth, Iku gave his own eggs to Obatala for safekeeping. He told Obatala that he wanted to walk every part of the planet in order to see for himself what was actually there. When he left, Olodumare instructed Obatala to boil his eggs. He did. He was also instructed to remove the shells from the eggs. He also did. After this, Olodumare told him close his eyes and throw the shells all around him. He did. By the time he opened his eyes, he saw to his surprise that the food items had begun to grow on the planet. The food was of different varieties: yam, millet, maize, guinea corn, cocoa yam, potatoes, sweet potato, etc. When these food items were ripe enough for harvesting, the eggs belonging to Iku began to burst open. As they did, human beings began to emerge from the eggs in pairs, a male and a female. As they were coming out, they began to inhabit the planet, and they were living on the food that had been harvested by Obatala, which was in turn made possible by the eggshells that Obatala had thrown and spread around the planet. It took Iku over 400 years before he returned. When he came back, he was totally surprised to find several people inhabiting the planet, is what it says. He demanded from Obatala to explain to him what really happened in his absence. Obatala told him everything. In his response, Iku said that all the human beings on Earth belonged to him. Consequently, he would take all of them away on that very day. Obatala disagreed with him by saying that it was from his own eggs that they were being fed and nurtured. This led to a heated argument between the two Arumale. In the end, they decided to take the matter to Olodumare for adjudication. Both of them narrated their sides of the story to Olodumare. In his own judgment, Olodumare told Iku that even though all living beings on Earth belonged to him in the end, he, however, was not allowed to take them all at once. Iku was allowed to go to the planet Earth and take away whoever pleased him and at any time that pleased him, but not all at once. That was when both Iku and Obatala left the presence of Olodumare and returned to the respective places of abodes. From that time onwards, death disregarded whether anyone was old or young before snatching them away. Iku snatches away whoever he likes at any time that suits his fancy. This is why human beings need to offer a bow regularly to postpone the period that Iku will arrive to take them away. And then then it goes back into the Eseifa. The verse. A youth is having a secret love affair with the wife of a Ogboni elder. They've heard of it, but they must not say anything. Even the consequence of doing so must not be pronounced. This was Ifa's message for Iku, death, and also for Osunla Batala when coming from heaven to earth. They were advised to offer a bow. They complied. Before long, not too far away, come and see how the Ifa that was cast on that day was manifested. Okay. Did you get all that?
I got some of it.
Okay. So one of the things, and again, this is number 7 in Ogbe Yonu. So this is giving a this is giving a description of what was going on in the beginning of the world between some of the Arumale that were directed by God, Olodumare, excuse me, to come in and prepare the earth for inhabitation. And you'll notice that it said that, Iku, he gave his eggs to Obatala. I was like, watch him, I'm going to run the earth, I'm going to go circle the place, see what's popping, and
you take care of my eggs.
You take care of my eggs. Olodumare, being Olodumare, do this, Obatala, instructions of Olodumare, and from that human plantation, right, were created. And so Iku comes back and is like, so half of those were mine. And the ones that were the half of mine are the human beings. So they belong to me. And I, being who I am, again, and this is why I love this, why Ifa resonates with me, because it shows you that everything has a function and a design in the world. And we get to learn how to coexist with it instead of being like, you're evil, or all the things. Like, it's about finding that true ability to coexist while everyone maintains their authentic function without everyone trying to change each other to what they are. Mm-hmm. So Olodumare is like, Iku is Iku. Iku is like part of this, it's part of the cycle of life. Iku is not, I'm not going to change Iku, but I do need to put some boundaries up, right? So by way of doing this, when Obatala and Iku went to Olodumare to argue, it was like, that's exactly what Baba Olodumare did. It was like, so do what you got to do because you're necessary. You're a necessary part of the system of things. But you can't just be going and taking and clearing all of planet Earth at one time because there's nobody left. And that goes against what we're trying to accomplish here, right? Because again, Olodumare's purpose was to go make that earth inhabitable, not make it inhabitable and then just wipe everything away. There's a purpose here. So we talk about me, you, and bro, and your brother, both, and Louis, Chris, and Yemi and I. Sorry. We were all having a conversation this weekend, and I was telling them that I loved Aristotle's definition on what good and bad is, because his thing is just like, good means going towards the goal, and bad means away from the goal. Or good means it does its job, and bad means it doesn't do its job. So, for instance, like the wine that my sister just took a sip of, it is supposed to be pleasurable to the palate, right? And if you like us and we like to get a buzz every now and then, it's supposed to like intoxicate. So if it does neither of those things, we would call that a bad glass of wine, because it did not do what it was designed to do. And if it does what it's designed to do, then it's a good glass of wine. Does that make sense? Very simple, and we always complicate it like good and bad. Yeah. Huh?
That was so easy.
Go Aristotle. Anyways, lost my train of thought. Good and bad. Iku. It's coming back to me. Hang on, y'all. So Iku is keeping us functioning, necessary part of life, but it's also like, let's be sure that you are still going with
the plan.
The plan.
Original idea.
The original plan. Don't get crazy. Don't get sidetracked. Just because you can do something doesn't mean that you should do it. Doesn't mean that it's the best possibility to do. Mm-hmm. Listen to me talking to myself right
It's
now.
not congruent with the goal, guys. So.
I hate when my Maria is like, yeah, did you hear that? It's happening right now. And I don't want to share, but whatever. So anyways, so in that right there, it also leaves in this particular stanza where Olodumare said, so listen, here's the guidelines. You can do it whenever you want. You can do it at whatever age you want, but you can't
do it
all at once. So that is in this number 7.
So basically what you're trying to make a point here, this is how now everybody at whatever age gets to die. And we no longer are doing this whole thing where we can live this until old age.
This is where this occurred, because this transition, but I'm taking you on a timeline, because the next timeline, the next event that happens is also very important.
Okay.
As well. So now that we know that this plan or agreement, it. We know that this agreement exists. We now understand the function of what's going on. We understand that there was a feud between Iku, death, and Obatala, about what was going to happen to the human beings. And it was awesome because Obatala was very nurturing. Like, well, listen, I fed them. Like, they were nurtured based off of my eggs. You can't just take them. So it's a beautiful dynamic to see everybody's roles and how we can get possessive, right, over what we feel belongs to us, but understand that we got to stay with the function and the structure of things. And if everybody is allowed to do their things in balance and be their function in balance, then it's a beautiful coexisting. Sorry. Next, I'm going to go to number 9. So remember, that's at play. So while we have Iku able to take anybody at any time for whatever reason, just the agreement is not at once. We're going to go to when Oromila, who's the custodian holder of the Ifa Oracle, comes into play. And he's another Irumale. Okay. It says, O were were, the Kasifa for Oromila, who would adorn the necks of his children with Ide beads. I put these on for a reason. Y'all know I don't live just like this, like on a normal basis. But I also needed Oya to help me level me out right now. So these are beads, Ide beads, okay? So, and they don't have to look like this, but I love these. Okay. For protection against death, he was advised to offer a bow. Those who were old enough to die, and those who were not, were being snatched away by death. Some people would die, and several others living around him or her would breathe a sigh of relief. Let me take a breath. Starting over. Those who were old enough to die and those who were not were being snatched away by death. Some people would die and several others living around him or her would breathe a sigh of relief, while others would die and the whole society would be thrown into mourning. The unfortunate part, however, was that it seemed that the very righteous ones were being cut down in their prime, while the wicked, good-for-nothing ones were being left to live into their old age. Romila observed that his followers and children were many on earth. They must not be allowed to be part of the victims of untimely death on earth. Consequently, he decided to take decisive steps in order to ensure that his own followers and children were protected against and spared from all forms of violence or untimely death. That was the reason why he went for Ifa consultation. Oromila was told that there were too many uncertainties and threats on earth. He was assured that his own children would, however, be spared from all these things. The Awo told him to offer Abo, as stated above, and at the same time, he needed to put Ifa beads on the necks of all his children. He complied. As soon as these things were done, all evil spirits and negative elementals move away from all of the followers and children of Oromila. They began to live to their old age. If any of them failed to wear the Ifa beads and anything untoward began to happen to them, as soon as an appropriate abo was offered and the Ifa beads were put around their necks, the evil elementals responsible for the problem would disappear from their lives, and he or she would find his or her life returning to normalcy. Ashe. Girl, Ashe. Owere, de Kasifa for Rumila, who would adorn the necks of his children with Ide beads for protection against death. He was advised to offer a bow. He complied. We are all struggling, all of us. Death will never kill an Awo who has adorned his neck with Ifa beads. We are all struggling, all of us. Affliction will never affect an Awo who has adorned his neck with Ifa beads. We are all struggling, all of us. No evil will ever affect an Awo who has adorned his neck with Ide beads. We are all struggling, all of us. Okay, did you get that? Now, let me be clear. I don't want y'all to think that you can be on ridiculous and be like, I'm gonna go to Ifa and I'm gonna have saving grace, right? I've been a wicked soul for many lifetimes and I'm gonna go get initiated to Ifa so that death can't find me early. That would be a very, very, very faulty judgment call, let me tell you. So that was not said here, but I am telling you what I know. So this is not, while Ifa is a saving grace for a lot of people, it still requires to be of good character. By good, again, what did we just say? Goes towards the goal, right? Ifa is about balance. Ifa is about abundance. Ifa is about love. If you are a character that is trying to just get in good and trying to hide out from death, trying to basically use Ifa as an scapegoat, it'll just get you cut down even faster. Let me be clear, okay? I know. And I'll share that personal experience another day. And then on top of that, we get to see that even Orunmila himself, who's the custodian holder of the Ifa oracle, goes for Ebo and does so in such a loving way to protect his children. Ashe, thank you. They said perfect discussion on this Oshe Ifa. Ashe. So, what did I just say, sis? I'm sorry. Yes, and even Orunmila himself goes and does Ebo. Like, again, the abundance of people that are impacted and benefited from doing Ebo. Like, it's at this point, it is, if you are initiated to Ifa, even if you have only your Wofokan or your Ishefa, whichever practice you call it, and whichever tradition you call it, stay on top of yourself. I'm not saying be fanatical. Like in our household, my husband and I do it every 17 days. That's how we check on our household, our Ile, all the members of it, the kids, the community. And just imagine what it looks like if everyone, let's just say one person per neighborhood, right, is initiated to Ifa and is doing Ebo. Imagine all of the school shooting numbers that would go down. Because this is what we do. We get the warning about what's going on. We get messages about what's going on with our children. So if your child is going to a school where something is about to pop off, you're going to get that memo from Ifa before it happens. Did we not get the memo about COVID? Mm-hmm. We got it. Did a big ass Ebo. I don't know if all of you that remember or if anyone's watching that participated in it, but we did a big ass Ebo. And literally, Ifa was like, Shewa, get as many people as you can to participate in this Ebo. And it was beautiful to see, like, a lot of people, whether they were initiated or not, they were like, I don't know what's going on, but get me in on that. And wow. We'll talk about that another day, but Ebo is powerful. And even in this instance, Orunmila didn't stray away from feeling that he was above Ebo in order to get the job done. Because Ebo is one of those things that is like universal law, where if you do the Ebo is accepted, and then you do all of the steps that is also recommended behind the Ebo, like it's a wrap. Like
it's gonna happen.
It's gonna happen. Like
signals.
Yes. Now again, listen to what I said. You do the Ebo. That doesn't mean you step back. If let's say Ifa says, I always have a problem with these examples. I go blank.
Maybe use me as an example.
What do you want to use?
No, I don't know what I'm saying. I probably have done that.
No, you're really good about doing your Ebos. I can't use you. You jump on it. But you also follow the recommendation. So that all I'm trying to say is if you go for divination if you go for divination and you come with, hell, I use the last example that we talked about last time with Idin Meji. Dude went for divination to make sure everything was good. So I was like, everything ain't good. You about to get into a fight with your best dude. Dude was like, you telling lies. I ain't gonna do it, because we ain't never fought. You done missed the whole point of going for divination. You know that the Ifa Oracle is gonna give you what you went for, and so you did the opposite of it, well then there you go. So you didn't do the Ebo, and you didn't follow any of the directives after that. So then, you're just looking at yourself. But then even if you go and you do the Ebo, let's say with this one, let's say the guy did do the Ebo. Let's say he did the Ebo, and Ifa's like, and in addition to that, I don't know,
you have to do his lawn.
You can't borrow any of his tools. Like, use your own tools, right, to till your land. And dude's like, I'm going to do the Ebo, but I'm going to go because we're friends for a long time.
How about use the hammer?
I'm just going to go over there and use the hammer, and then let's say it ends up being a murder victim. A murder. It's probably a horrible example. We're coming up with examples, but it kind of made sense, right?
Yeah, it makes sense.
Like, you done now picked up the tool that probably possibly murdered somebody, and if I told you,
No, you're the
I
murderer.
don't know. Come up with your own example.
I'm getting out of the camera. And she's not drinking wine. You see how the wine does not make an effect on one? You are who you are regardless.
I'm just saying, like, if I can see you in this, now you see it. Oh, sorry. Can you see yourself rocking? Because this laptop is rocking like crazy. So, but if I can see all aspects of everything, and we can't assume that we can, so follow that directives as well as doing the above. If I did both, or Rumila did both in this situation, and when we initiate Tuifa, or for sure when we initiate Tuifa, or when we do our Ishefa, which is receiving your hand of Ifa, that is your initiation and your protection that Ifa is talking about. A Rumila made a pact basically in this situation with Iku, and it's like you remember
So
what it
now
said.
it's not
Exactly.
Now
So-
we are limiting the people that you can actually
exactly. So
come in and take at this point.
you're running around doing things and taking people, but I love you too, bro. So you're running around taking people, and Rumila's like, okay, so I saw what happened with Obatala. Obatala got out phase 1. Okay, woo! Thank you, Baba Obatala. Let me come in and do phase 2, because we still got to allow him to do his function, but we got to allow people the opportunity to live long lives. So in both of their love, Obatala and Rumila's, in the love of a parent, they did that. They did our both for us. And so it's as simple as, y'all know, all of my sons are initiated to Ifa. There ain't no choice. The only one who had a choice was Keandre. By the time I found Ifa, Keandre was 16 years old. So I felt like he was old enough to be able to make that decision. Keandre is like, take me to Nigeria. And how amazing, at that choice. But, not that choice, at that age. Especially in the upbringing that we came up in. And he was just like, this is what feels and resonates and feels good to me. I want to go. So he's the only one of my sons that made the own decision. Tristan and Maze ain't got a choice when I know this. No, I don't care whatever they decide to practice in religion, because one has nothing to do with the other.
Yeah.
This is literally a universal tool. This is not about religion. This is about keeping my kids alive and having the potential to have long lives without anything coming for them before time. And this is another thing that I wanted to say. And you were right, we do have to talk about Ogbe. That's what I'm saying. We got to do different videos so that when I say these things, you're going to know what I'm talking about. When we're dealing with issues of Egbe, which means that you are a leader in your Egbe class in heaven, which is the group that you belong to before you came to earth, right? When you ain't back at a certain time, they come looking for you. Okay? So there's that you got to think about. I knew when I was pregnant with Maze, I didn't know anything about Ifa. Let's go with Keandre. So I didn't know. I was 16 years old when I had Key. All I was tapping into was my natural witching abilities to keep my baby alive. Like there was no option for death. And he was born 1 pound, 2 ounces. I had him like a few days after 6 months. That's it. You could see through his body when he was born. He was not done forming. And the doctor told me before cutting me open for my C-section, he was like, I need you to understand that he only has a 10% chance of living. And he said, and he looked at me, he was like, there's nothing I can do. If this child is to live, it's because God wants him here. I said, well, watch him live, because that's what God wants. Oh, shit. When I tell you I was unbothered, I was just like, there's no other possibility. Like, my teachers at school were looking at me and bawling. They're like, how are you so strong? And I'm like, strong for my kids is all I know to be. Like, Keandre is going to live. That was it. So, and I'm not saying it was on me, because Keandre fought like the fighter that he is as well. So between he and I, that double team and tag team, I don't even know what I'm trying to say. We were on that shit. Include my mama, big mama, shit. There was no other option. So we were tapping into what was innately in us. If I was innately in us, this is what was naturally there. Exactly. We tapped into it. That was the only option. So
manifested it. In another word, for other people that don't.
Ashe.
Yeah.
So, and again, I am not
kind of like hand to hand for me with the Ifa. The whole thing is so like a law of attraction. It's manifesting. a lot of times, basically.
Yes. So, what was I gonna say? So here's the thing. When I initiated to Ifa, Keandre was 15 at that time. And that's when I started learning about egg-based groups. Faith groups? Okay.
Yeah.
That's when I started learning about egg-based groups and this whole situation. And it woke up for me that Keandre was like kind of like on borrowed time. And what I mean by that is he belonged to a group that was something called Abiku, right? As was I. So the interesting thing about Keandre and I is he saved my life by coming through me. And once I birthed something, it like kept me grounded here on earth. I'm not going to even talk about how many times I almost died that my parents don't know about. Like, I'm not even going to freak them out in this video right now. We'll talk about that another day.
Another day.
But, like, he saved my life. I saved his life. And then he chose to live longer by himself by choosing to initiate to Ifa. And in that moment when he initiated, I realized what he was, what I was, how we saved each other, all of the things. So now, once I have that understanding, that knowing through text, through the passing down of these verses verbally, then just my own feelings, when I get pregnant with Maze, listen, I'm like, oh my God. I'm already in my 40s. The first child that I had was born 6 months. Do you imagine how hard it was to know that I had an egg bay child in me that I knew, like even while he was in me, his egg bay were trying to come and take him. There was one time he literally astral projected in my, like tried to get out and I pushed him back in. I was like, no, you're staying. So I was like, I got my hands full. It was hard to stay calm while pregnant because you're supposed to be, no nerves, no nothing, everything else. And I'm having to completely keeping it together, knowing that there's a possibility that something was trying to come get him before his time. And they were bringing the heaviness, right? My husband wasn't completely in alignment with him initiating early. And I understand why. Like, it's a hard initiation for the guys especially. Like, it's no joke. And I don't know, Chris must have got the same memo finally because
it was like that.
I was like, our boys are going to Nigeria. Then he's like, book the tickets. Sure as shit, we initiate our son and Ashe. We initiate our son and in his Otura Gasa, your child is Egbe. And I'm like, I knew it. So just to get that confirmation, it was like, first of all, he's initiated to Ifa, so this gives me some cushion, like to take a fucking breath, because again, it says here, those who adorn the day beads, and the way to get these is to be initiated. So it's not necessarily that we have to wear these beads all the time. It's the initiation. It's the point of doing initiation, so I can breathe now where Maze is concerned. A little. I mean, well, no, a lot more is what I'm trying to say, but it's like it gives me room to help him work with his egg bay and to teach him that he's going to see things and he's going to hear things and not to be afraid of it, just to help him blossom and get used to what's happening and to keep his egg bay appeased. You know what I mean? What's wrong?
No, nothing.
Oh, okay. So when we talk about these odus and these tools, we got to start using them. Again, I can't emphasize enough that when you have this information, and I feel bad for sitting on this for so long. Like, I share with people who are like in my sphere, but I really wish that I would have spoken about this in like on this forum years ago. For anybody who wanted to listen, I can't control or make people listen, but I at least have put myself out here. I've shared the information. Hopefully you guys will pass on the information as well. Practice whatever religion you want to practice. Do whatever, but what is the harm of having an additional tool for you and your family to protect yourself against untimely death?
Yeah. So I know that after watching the video today and the cases that you gave us an example, this came to your mind and wanted to talk about it. But I know, based on what we talked in the kitchen, I feel like you had another message in regards to why that happens. Well, I guess you covered it on this book, right? Mm-hmm. Technically speaking.
Yeah. Is your neck okay?
My neck is so,
She threw it at the gym, y'all. So, but did you understand the whys?
Yeah, it was pretty clear. I just thought that maybe you wanted to elaborate a little bit more as to, but I think we're going into the, maybe these people
No, don't tell me what you're saying.
knew that they could have taken these steps and they don't, or something like that?
No, well, here's the thing. They knew when they took the steps. You know what I'm saying? When Obatala got the message from Olodumare, he trusted Olodumare to be Olodumare and just do what was told. And from that, abundance was created. When Ifa, because you got to remember, verse 7 happened first before verse 9. So Ramila's seeing, okay, so I understand that pact agreement was made, but it's still an issue.
Got it.
I want to create another cushion that'll give people the option, at least, to keep people from going against the natural order, right? And this is the cushion that allows that for us.
Yeah, so what I was saying is basically what you got was like, hey, I can no longer sit on this information. Let me let these people know about this story.
Yeah.
So got it.
Yeah. And again, like, and I definitely think that at some point we need to talk about the next verse as well, because it talks about the Ajoguns and how they inflict the world, and I think that'd be a good follow-up to this. But what was I gonna say? Things are gonna happen. It even says this. We're struggling, these things are going on, we're struggling. Like, just because you initiate Tuifa doesn't mean that all of a sudden everything is gonna be peachy clean, because there's another level to it, which is you doing your part
put in the work.
and putting in your work. And that's a whole nother can of beast
to
open up, that introspection that we're always talking about. So
but it's definitely a great tool to help you.
Gives you that cushion to get there.
Work. Yeah.
Because the point is to come here and live a long life so that we can fulfill our destiny. If it stops at age 20, you didn't get the point. You were just getting started. You know what I'm saying? So
and another topic that we need to talk about next time is on his comment in regards to, not that I don't agree with it or anything, but faith removes all doubts. That's what it implies to me, faith, because I know that's a big topic that we have going on. Into, do we need faith? Do we not need faith? But yeah.
Okay. What was I gonna say? So what's the last thing I said? I don't know. Say something, sis. I'm sorry. I lost my train of thought.
I don't know. You want a glass of wine? Are you good? Or you want to close the conclusion?
I feel like I was about to say something important.
I can recall the last 3 words you said.
What did I say?
No, I cannot.
Oh, I'm sorry. So yeah, I guess we can wrap it up. Just, I don't know. My heart is broken, and that's what I was gonna say is things are gonna happen.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the hard things that I had to learn today was allowing people, like, surrendering to what is and allowing people to make their choices, even if it breaks your heart. Like, I can't imagine. I literally feel like maybe what Obatala and Rumila felt like I want to protect my kids, because that's when I feel like when I have my close friends or my own kids, or my husband, and I'm like, just do a bow or just get this initiation. Why are we making it harder? And even if they're that close to me, even if they're living in my house, they still have the ability for choice. You know what I mean? Like, there's initiations that my husband was like, I'm not going to do that, and I'm just like, I would want to make up that it's affecting me negatively, but not really. Like, my Orisha got my, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, Jaketa, he gets to have his journey or whatever. So it's the same thing even with me providing this information to you. Some of you are going to be like, sign me up. But just again, remember what I said. If I was not being an scapegoat to be ratchet, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you truly want to go and make a change to work towards the goal of making the world a better place, then this is for you. But if you're just trying to, if you've been ridiculous for lives upon lifetimes upon lifetimes, then don't just be trying to do it to get what's coming to you. And then the second thing, is that Chris? Or was that the dog? Chris, is that you?
That's Chris in the microphone.
Oh. Like, is Jersey doing dishes? What is happening? And then I don't know what the second thing I was going to say is. I don't know. I need wine now. Yes, I'm ready for wine. Yeah, I literally don't know what I was saying. I'm sorry, y'all.
It's okay. You did great. So you wanted to pass on the message. You did.
Anything you want to add?
I don't.
Okay.
I don't want to add anything to this. So Yeah, no, I'm good. I'm not gonna interview you right now either.
Tell me.
No. I was just gonna ask you, why were you heartbroken from the beginning after seeing the video? Obviously, the news that your friend shared and all that stuff. But what was the?
You just helped me remember. See, thank
Yeah.
you. Because I was talking about letting people have their choices and just surrendering to it. Like, yes, I can hurt from it, but I can't take on, especially once I've shared it, because I did have a conversation with this young lady before.
That's what I'm saying. Your point at the end of the day.
Yeah, it's hard when you do share this information and it doesn't resonate for them,
and then things like this happen. Yeah, so that's That's where you surrender. It's okay. At least you did your part, and now that you have this platform and you were able to just share, whether people get it or not. I know that we all have different beliefs. We think
and
differently.
it's not just with her. I mean,
that's okay.
You know, like
at the end of the day, but we all are entitled and should share our belief, because some people they might not do it exactly or take it all in, but there might be a piece of something that they were missing, or something that they learned, or something that they can adopt at the end of the day. So I believe that every tool is good, whether it's from this religion or this place or whatever's going to get me to the good, and whatever I will use.
And I'm glad you just said that, because there's another thing that I want to say. We have to remember that everybody has the right to live, right? Human beings have the right to live long lives. Again, like it really upsets me that people try to put stipulations as to who can go to Ifa. Everybody, no matter your walk of life, no matter your sex, gender, orientation, whatever we're calling it, no matter your sexual preferences, you have the right to live. So it is Orisha who are very selective, because they're the ones who were designed to go with the Ori that you chose. But Ifa welcomes everybody, and you don't have to be practicing Babalawo or an Ianifa. You don't have to be a diviner. But you're allowed to be safe from untimely death. You're allowed to know your destiny. You're allowed to know how to walk towards your best possibility. Everybody has that right. So that's another thing we get to, and it just kind of goes in with this, is everybody has the right to live. I don't care what you got going on.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I love about this. It's super free, open. There's no stipulations, regulations. There's no this. There's no that.
Initiation.
There is nothing. Yeah. Other than you do what you want. In the sense, you can. Yeah, you don't have to follow, like, to get married. You must be baptized. So you must have this paperwork, and you must have to go through this course.
Got it.
There's none of that here. Got it.
It's about just, again, towards the goal of progress of inhabiting and creating a beautiful earth, a beautiful planet, a beautiful existence.
I love things, but there's no rules to get to inside.
Well, rules that are, I think our issue
there are rules later on.
I'm trying to tell you, lady. Our issue is with rules that is designed by someone who's trying to control the masses. Yeah. When we just talk about rules that are there in place to keep abundance flowing, we ain't got no problem with that.
And we've talked about those different types of rules.
And rules that are like placed so that everybody
serving us.
Ashe. When we're talking about rules that allows everybody to be their authentic selves without having to, you have to be like me or off with your head. I'm down for those rules, we're just talking about universal rules.
I am down for rules to control me. Don't let me go out of the country. I always go back here.
We're getting off now.
Okay.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Please, if there's any of our videos that you share, please share this one and probably the surrender one, which we're gonna do again, because
just share. It's hitting a button. Nothing major. It's okay. Spread the love.
Yeah. We love you guys. Bordo Aboye. Can you hit that?
Bye.
Bye.
Hit what? X?
No, sis.